Yeah, thank you very much, Lisa. I'm chatting now with Mr. Marcus Ramkisoon, who is a certified cannabis expert. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks again for having
The
me.
Prime Minister wants to start discussions on the decriminalizing of marijuana in 2019. What are your thoughts?
Well, the last time I was interviewed by you guys, actually, that was my biggest suggestion, right? To at least have the government start the move and start the discussion on marijuana. And they have, so I must say I'm very pleased with it.
Yeah, because the last time we spoke, it was because the Prime Minister said he didn't want to go down that road, and now all of a sudden you see a change in heart.
Exactly, and hopefully that's because, well, we've seen Ms. Nazma Muller has come out with her petition to the Prime Minister a few weeks ago, and she's been responsible wholeheartedly for starting the discussions. I give her credit for that.
And you said that you are a certified cannabis expert. What
Right.
exactly is a certified cannabis expert?
Well, I have my bachelor's degree in life and research sciences. I studied pre-med at St. George's, and then I did graduate studies in chiropractic and acupuncture in the US. And after that, I did various schoolings for cannabis science studies, and now I have 43 CME certifications, which are continuing medical education certifications, usually reserved for physicians, but because I did medical school and I had the understanding, I was able to do it. And I have 30 industry certificates. I have 73 certifications in marijuana studies. It does make me one of the highest qualified persons internationally, bringing something that's not usually seen within this industry, which is actual certification and qualification to the table.
So you have a lot of experience and you know what you're talking about.
Well, for the last 10 years, I've actually worked in the industry internationally in countries that's allowed me to do so. Spain, Holland, Canary Islands, which being part of Spain also. And I've consulted for private organizations, cannabis clubs, grow operations, cultivation operations. Then I have part of a business across there also, and I have my own seed company based in Europe, which is a genetics company. We actually won the Cannabis Cup, which is an award, a big award ceremony usually held every year. We won that in 2015. So I'm a part of the industry and work within the industry and have done so for the last decade or so.
So you understand clearly the benefits of using marijuana, at least for medicinal purposes.
Of course, there's a lot of benefits. The Prime Minister brought up in his talk that he did mention that he's looking at it from a social justice perspective. And that's a very important perspective to look at it at. Remember, if we stop the arrests for possession of marijuana, like some of the other countries have done, we immediately clear up a huge backlog of cases within our courts. The late Dana Sitahal quoted 65% of our cases in our magistrates' courts are possession of marijuana cases. And we know we have a lot of people in remand yard waiting for their case to be heard. So once we could clear up this backlog, we not only free up the judiciary system, but we also save the country a lot of monies and expenditures in taking care of prisoners and holding prisoners within remand yard and within the prison systems. So that in itself is one major aspect, but we can't just look at it that way alone, because then someone has to ask, where would the supply come from?
Exactly.
And there's a medical aspect to look at, there's a recreational aspect to look at, there's the economic aspect to look at. So I would like to see the government take a holistic view to the situation, right? I've actually applied formally to be a consultant for this government, having already consulted for Jamaica in 2015, their government, St. Vincent in 2014, and I'm actually on my way this week to consult for Antigua with meeting the Prime Minister on Friday. So I've applied to consult for Trinidad and Tobago through the Attorney General's office, through the Prime Minister's office, and I'm waiting for a reply. I know they're setting up a subcommittee to discuss the CARICOM Marijuana Commission's decision to allow the Caribbean to go recreational. So I'm hoping to either sit on that committee or be heard by that committee at some point in the upcoming months.
But there needs to be checks and balances in place when it comes to this, because you don't want people abusing it.
Exactly.
How do we do that?
I've actually proposed a system that was taken in by our Ministry of Health 2 years ago, vetted and accepted. And what it suggests is a licensing process for cultivation, for dispensing. So in my system, we actually don't propose what some of the other countries did, which is to allow every person to grow 4 or 6 plants at home. Because in my opinion, that would take away from the ability to do your checks and balances. There are some states in the US that there are systems, RFID systems in place that you can check plants from seed to sale, meaning that there's no diversion in the system. There's no extra plants that are growing that can go out to the black market or so. The system that I've actually proposed for Trinidad with these licensing processes in place has the unique ability, in my opinion, to eradicate the black market for marijuana in Trinidad. And that's a huge point. If we as a country could get rid of the black market for a drug in this country, we immediately raise our country's standards in international scales. So it's something that I'm hoping the government looks at more closely. And you know, again, there's ways and means through licensing processes, through taxation, and through tracking and balancing through RFID systems, so that there'd be no diversion of the plant onto the black market, right? No diversion of the drug itself onto the black market, and the ability to check each and every seal, again, from seed to seal, meaning every part of the plant, every part of the process has the ability to be tracked and therefore taxed. And that's the important thing that our government needs to look at, so we can look at the revenues coming in from the system, which my estimates has been about 300 million TT dollars per year in taxes. That's just about the amount that, or that's more than the amount actually that they've proposed they're bringing in from the online taxes, right, for your purchases online. So it's something, if we can provide such a revenue to the country, it's something that needs to be looked at seriously and need to be heard seriously.
Talk about that black market, which is a serious issue that needs to be addressed as well.
Well, look at California and Colorado, right? Colorado and California were some of the first states to go medical and then recreational. And what we've seen come out of that is that when they've added taxes in a recreational market, they have not put any control on the pricing in the dispensary systems. And because of this, the private operators who are running these dispensaries have added the tax price on top of the regular price of the marijuana. So now you're getting the marijuana cheaper on the black market, which encourages a black market. If we can look at it from a different perspective, look at it from my proposals, which corrects all these issues, and has the government be able to set a pricing scheme within the regulated industry that we propose, then we have the ability to compete with the black market. Black market will never be able to compete with a regulated industry if we keep the pricing as low as possible.
You sure about that?
If we keep the pricing as low as possible, and if we don't make the mistakes that California and Colorado has made by adding taxes on top of the prices of the marijuana sales.
So is there a model that Trinidad and Tobago can look to replicate?
I wouldn't say replicate, right? Because each model has been different. In my opinion, the new Canadian model, I've looked at some of the regulations that the provinces of Canada have proposed, and their regulations seem to be the cleanest so far. When I say cleanest, I mean the least loopholes are allowed. Loopholes can be very simple. Look at Jamaica. Jamaica has said that you can have 6 plants per person in your possession, and you can have with that, what was it? I think it was 2 ounces to 2 pounds of marijuana in your home. It's either 2 ounces or 2 pounds, but a big difference, sure. But 6 plants could bring up to 6 to 10 pounds of marijuana. So there's a loophole there. You're allowed 6 plants, but you're only allowed a certain weight. So you have to be able to regulate these systems. The system that I have proposed to the government of Trinidad and Tobago that was accepted corrects all these loopholes. I have taken the systems of all the countries, Canada, South America, Europe, all these things, analyzed it, and has gotten rid of, I'd like to think, gotten rid of all the problems within those systems. I wouldn't say my proposal is an absolute perfect system, but as near to perfect as we can get with what's out there already.
And you want to be part of the discussions in 2019 moving forward?
Well, again, people study, go to school and study for a reason, right? And it's to achieve a career in various things. My career and my job is actually within the marijuana fields. And I know it sounds difficult to swallow in this country because it's still illegal. But I've worked, as I said, for the last 10 years in countries. I go to Europe twice, 3 times a year. So, yes.
Mr. Ramkisoon, I'd like to thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you
and
very
hopefully
much.
things go well for you and your organization and Trinidad and Tobago by extension.
Thanks very much.
Mr. Marcus Ramkisoon, they're a certified cannabis expert. Now we take you to your stock report. So here are the details of the day's market activity on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange.